Welcome to today's Explainer, When I Hate You Hurts, Understanding Your Neurodiverse Child's Meltdown Language. Brought to you by Bright Kids AI, empowering every bright mind. If you're raising a neurodiverse child, you probably know this exact feeling. It's 11 p.m. The house is finally blissfully quiet. But there you are, sitting alone in the dark, replaying the absolute storm that just tore through your living room. Your child was completely overwhelmed, and out of nowhere, they screamed those words, "I hate you," or "You're the meanest mom ever." And man, those words just leave this painful, lingering ache right in your chest. It is so natural to sit there wondering, did I do something wrong, or do they actually feel that way? I mean, how on earth are you supposed to respond to something so hurtful when your own tank is already running completely on empty? Well, if you are feeling lost and hurt right now, I want you to know you are absolutely not alone. But here is a counterintuitive truth, and honestly, it's a total game changer once it clicks. When your neurodiverse child yells these things during a massive moment of dysregulation, it is almost never about you. I know it feels deeply personal, but they aren't expressing genuine hatred toward you as their caregiver. What they are actually expressing is an absolute, terrifying hatred for the overwhelming, intense feeling they are experiencing inside their own body. What looks from the outside like calculated defiance is actually a primal scream for help. It's a nervous system that is just completely short-circuited. Okay, let's dive into this and look at the actual science of what's happening under the hood. When a meltdown hits, the amygdala, which is basically the brain's primitive fire alarm, takes total control. It throws your child into a pure state of fight, flight, or freeze. And while the alarm bells are ringing, the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that handles logical thought, empathy, and picking exactly the right words, well, it completely shuts down. It goes offline. So in that moment, complex, polite communication, it's literally unavailable to them. To make this brain science a bit more relatable, we use a really helpful framework from Bright Kids AI. They call this flooded, highly dysregulated state a big boom, and framing it this way is just so helpful. Because when a child is right in the middle of a big boom, they simply cannot piece together a sentence like, "Mom, I am incredibly frustrated right now because my routine changed," or "I'm so overloaded by the noise in here that I feel like I might explode." That linguistic bridge is totally blocked. So you might be wondering, if they can't access complex language, why do they always reach for the exact words, "I hate you"? Well, it comes down to three things. First, brain overload. Flooded with stress hormones, the brain reverts to its most primitive responses, completely blocking emotional regulation. Second, there's limited interoception. A lot of neurodiverse kids, especially those with autism or ADHD, struggle to actually feel and decode their internal body signals. Because they literally can't identify a nuanced feeling, they just default to the biggest, loudest emotion possible. And third, learned phrases. They grab onto these high-impact, dramatic phrases they've heard on TV or from other kids. In a big boom, those familiar, punchy scripts are the only tools they can reach for to show you just how massive their internal chaos really is. Understanding that why is absolutely crucial. But how do we actually navigate the storm when it's happening? We use a core mantra here: regulate, then relate. Your immediate goal isn't to correct their vocabulary, it's to help them regulate their body. Step 1, stay calm. You have to focus on your own nervous system first, because your calm presence is the ultimate anchor in their storm. Step 2, don't engage with the hurtful words. Snapping back with "don't you ever talk to me like that" is just throwing gasoline on the fire. You want to acknowledge their distress, not the insult. And step 3, use incredibly short, soothing phrases. Something as simple as, "I'm right here to help you calm down." Then you wait. Once the storm has fully passed and your child is genuinely calm and regulated again, that is when the real magic happens. You can gently revisit the moment and decode the message together. You might casually say, "Hey, earlier it seemed like you were feeling incredibly overwhelmed. Is that what was going on?" Then you can offer them replacement phrases for next time, like, "I'm so mad I could burst." And most importantly, you reinforce your connection. You rebuild that bridge by telling them, even when you get really upset and say hard things, "I love you and I am always here to help." But what if we could get ahead of the meltdown entirely? Wouldn't that be incredible? This is where some beautiful, proactive tools come in. The MyStars visual check-in entirely removes the need for words when kids are in those vulnerable transition moments. A child just taps the star that matches their internal feeling. A violet sleepy star, a teal bright star for when they're calm and focused, an amber zoom star for buzzing high energy, or that orange big boom we talked about. By giving them a way to name the state without needing a complex vocabulary, it empowers them to show you, "Hey, I'm moving into a zoom star state," way before their language center completely shuts down. Now, what's really interesting is how these simple daily check-ins actually transform into a roadmap. In a weekly brief, you might look at a timeline and suddenly realize, wait a minute, every single day at 4 p.m., there's a huge spike in energy. You spot a pattern. You realize the sensory transition right after school is acting as a massive trigger. Seeing it all mapped out like this makes those I hate you moments feel way less like a personal parenting failure and much more like a predictable, totally manageable part of your child's unique operating system. You can finally see the storm clouds gathering before it rains. And building that emotional literacy outside of meltdown moments is exactly how we prevent them. Bright Kids AI helps families do this in such a fun way, using personalized stories and songs built from a customized child profile that actually grows alongside your kid. The stories are fantastic because they cast your neurodiverse child as the hero of their own adventure, doing what they love while processing big feelings in a totally safe space. And the custom songs, they act as these gentle little anchors. Because they use your child's name and favorite interests and have these catchy, repetitive melodies, they completely cut through the external noise. They guide kids smoothly through the exact daily transitions that used to trigger a big boom. Of course, we can't forget about you, the caregivers. You need support too. There's this brilliant quote from a parent that perfectly captures the magic of Jenny, the AI guide designed specifically for parents. Imagine it's late at night, your own patience is totally frayed, and you're replaying a rough afternoon. A quick message to Jenny helps you reframe that outburst as a distress signal instead of a failure. She gives you these warm, bite-sized 2 to 3 sentence responses. She's absolutely not replacing a therapist, but she is that reassuring, empathetic voice in the dark. She acts as your calm, prefrontal cortex when you are just feeling totally exhausted and alone. So if you take away just one thing today, let it be this: their challenging words are not a reflection of your worth as a parent. They just aren't. They are a raw, unfiltered cry from a nervous system that is temporarily struggling to cope with the world. When you can take a step back, take a deep breath, and truly see those stinging words as a symptom of overwhelm rather than a personal insult, you completely unlock the path to deeper connection, true understanding, and a much calmer home. We'll wrap up our explainer today with a thought I really want you to hold on to. By taking the time to understand the unique language of a meltdown, by using visual tools to bridge the gap, and by anchoring yourself in absolute calm, you change the entire dynamic of your family story. Think about it. What if their absolute hardest moments are just waiting for your calmest response? Thank you so much for exploring this with us today. We hope this empowers you to guide your child gently back to their very own bright star state.